Hello YouTube, I am back with another Diablo 4 news video. Devs just released an update 2 days ago, and here we are. We are gonna be going over it. So they did a bunch of changes to the dungeons. One of the most common pieces of feedback we received is that players felt they were doing a lot of backtracking within certain dungeons, which was an issue really. We have optimized multiple dungeons across all zones to minimize the need for backtracking, and then they gave a list of the dungeons that were affected by the change. Developers note our primary goal with the layout changes was to reduce certain kinds of backtracking which detract from a player's experience. An example of this change is that players previously needed to enter side rooms to interact with structure objectives, causing them to retreat the same path. Now, many of our structure objectives have been repositioned along main dungeon pathways, making them easier for players to reach and allowing them to readily explore the dungeon after defeating the structure, which is really nice. Dungeon events. The chance for an event to spawn inside of a dungeon has increased from 10% to 60%, which is huge. The events are the ones that give the obols, I think. So that's really good. Beautiful development. To reduce the need to backtrack, small numbers of straggling monsters will seek out the player to help complete the kill all monsters objective. When enemies is gathered, the player and nearby allies will gain 10 resource and reduce all active cooldowns by 1 second. Sure. Depositing enemies channel time was reduced from 3 to 0 seconds, which is just so nice. The time to rescue was reduced from 3 to 1.5 seconds. Like any type of reduction in this type of redundant activities is beautiful. All rescue objectives now drop a health potion upon completion while carrying the ancient statue, bloodstone, mechanical box, or stone carving. You will receive a momentum bonus, giving a 25% move speed increase to you and your nearby allies. It's not bad at all. Pedestals have had their channel time reduced to 0. Returning a portable object to its pedestal now fully restores health, resource potions, and resets cooldowns for all nearby players. This is really cute. All doors will now generate a minimap ping when they are opened. Okay. All structure objectives in dungeons now have additional combat mechanics players must overcome. Nice. While our dungeons offer a variety of objectives to complete, player feedback stated that the action of completing each objective felt tedious. Very true. We hope that providing bonuses such as the increased mobility while carrying certain objective items will streamline and vary the experience of completing objectives. This adjustment is merely a starting point, and we intend to extend this philosophy to keys in a future update. Amazing stuff. Really amazing stuff. The fact that they actually listened to the community and made the changes necessary to all of these things is amazing. Amazing. A lot of people were thinking that this was only like a server test or something, but it turns out they actually care about the future of the game, so that's really good news. For the classes, effects like stun and freeze can be applied to elite monsters twice as long before they become unstoppable. Reviewed class skills to confirm that all classes have access to sufficient skills that remove control impairing effects, which is very important. Some classes felt a little on the helpless side in terms of CC removal effects. Many legendary powers have had updates to their effectiveness, which is good. For Barb, a 10% flat passive damage reduction has been added, which is amazing. This was necessary, I felt like, especially in the early game. Some skill trees, 3 passives have had their damage reduction effects reduced to compensate. Sure. The Whirlwind skill now deals more damage and consumes more fury, so it just deals more damage because fury is endless if you build it right. The double swing skill enhancement refunds its full fury cost when used on stunned or knocked down enemies. The double swing really needs a damage upgrade as well. I don't know if they are gonna be addressing that at all. Druid. Companion skills will now deal heavily increased damage. Okay, all ultimate skills have had their cooldowns reduced. Sure. Usability improvements have been made to maul and pulverize. Using a non-shapeshifting skill will transform a druid back into their human form. Okay, I'm not a big druid pro, but these seem fine. Also, I feel like spirit generation could use some work, but I might be wrong with that. I didn't have that much experience with the druid during the beta. For necromancers, summon minions will die more often, requiring players to utilize corpses more often, which is good because we don't want corpse explosion to become the target for every single corpse. Many bonuses in the Book of the Dead have had their stats increased. Good. Damage dealt by the corpse explosion skill has been reduced. Really good stuff. The brightness of the skeletal warriors and mages has been reduced. Yeah, we addressed that in the previous video, which you should check out. Rogue upgrades. The subterfuge skills have had their bonuses increased. Sure. Multiple passive skills have had their bonuses increased. All imbuement skills have had their cooldowns increased. Okay, good change. This is a very good change. For sorcerer, charged bolts damage was increased and the mana cost to cast has decreased, so it becomes very viable. Decreased the damage of chain lightning and reduced its effectiveness against bosses, which is a very good change again. Chain lightning was like bouncing off of yourself as well and going to the boss, so it was melting the bosses, so this is really a good change. Decrease the cooldown for the incinerate skills and enchantment bonus. Fireballs will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using its enchantment bonus. Increase the lucky hit chance for the meteor skills enchantment bonus. Sure. All around okay changes. Incinerate seems off. I hope this fixes it. Whenever we introduce changes to our classes, it is with the goal of making both them and their skill feel impactful and powerful. Your feedback has helped us uphold this ideal. Some players have adeptly noticed that certain skills were too powerful. One of our goals for skills is to have them be interesting to wield and interactive in terms of itemization and combat feel. We have made some changes to help in this regard, with one example being Necromancer's minions. We have made a change that makes them more vulnerable in combat, which will make raising the dead a more active component of the Necromancer's gameplay, which is really nice, instead of just clicking the I become invulnerable button and walking around. Launch is just the first step of our class balance journey, and you can expect further updates that iterate on this pillar of Diablo 4. I bet that this is going to be the case. This is their new baby and they don't want it to go to waste. For UI, they fixed an issue where they built in screen reader was not reading key prompts, game options, details, and other UI text. Fixed an issue where actions could not be bound to the mouse wheel. A lot of people want to use mouse wheel for force move, which is okay. I use space, but whatever. People have their preferences. Fixed an issue where evade couldn't be bound to the right analog stick on the controller. I have no idea. Chat will now display on the left side of the screen when using the centered action bar configuration. Okay. Character stats will be displayed by default when players click the materials and stats button within their inventory. Amazing change. Thank God. Instead of 2 clicks, it's 1 click now, which is amazing. The move and interact inputs can now be mapped to one button, while the primary attack input is mapped to a secondary button. Sure. The Sans Serif font used in the game has been replaced with a new Sans Serif font. Sure. For the encounters, fixed multiple issues that allowed bosses like the Butcher to become unresponsive. Sad. The Butcher has been re-evaluated for difficulty and will present a greater challenge in World Tiers 3 and 4, hardcore players. Bosses such as Short, Malnock, Venard, and others were re-evaluated for melee character difficulty, resulting in changes to attacks and fight mechanics. Okay, I'm ecstatic to see as a melee player. Fixed an issue where vampire brutes using shadow enchant affix would chain cast impale. Nice. That would make you like immobilized for too long. Sellers increased the chance for a dungeon event to occur in Sellers. Huge. Sellers felt weak overall in terms of content. Sellers will now constantly reward the chest upon completion. Really good stuff. Fixed an issue where sellers would prematurely be marked as complete. Fixed an issue where the guaranteed elite monster would be absent from a seller. Really nice. General QL changes. Fixed an issue where players could increase attack speed by move cancelling attacks early. Awesome change. Fixed an issue where characters weren't immune and untargetable after loading into an area. Nice. Hardcore players are really happy, including myself. The reset dungeon button has been disabled. So good, so we can't spam farm. While Diablo 4's Sanctuary is home to over 100 dungeons, the open beta only had the subset offered in Act 1's Fractured Peaks for players to explore, and a level cap that isn't a full representation of the experience at launch. Yeah. There are many reasons to complete a variety of dungeons, including collecting powerful affixes in the Codex of Power, and players will still be able to repeat dungeons by partying up with others and having them start the dungeon. Okay. We also wanted to make sure that resetting the dungeon wasn't a way for hardcore players to avoid death when experiencing a challenge in a dungeon. Still, we know it can be fun to repeat a specific dungeon, and the team is looking at a more permanent solution to this, like having some reasonable cap on how many times the same dungeon can be completed in a row to better support that style of play. In fact, in the full game, players will acquire sigils that will unlock nightmare dungeons, which are specifically designed to be completed repeatedly and are optimized to be highly rewarding and replayable. We will have more to share on this in the future. Alright, good stuff. Fixed an issue that caused Gale Valley and Serac Rapture to have less monsters than intended until the campaign quests in those territories were completed. Okay. And then the 420 live stream for the developer update is gonna be featuring Riker, and it's gonna be happening at 11 AM PDT on Twitch. Really, really amazing stuff overall. Amazing stuff overall. The fact that they listened to the community and made the changes accordingly is very, very promising for the future of the game. And I cannot wait to play this game for days after days, weeks after weeks. And yeah, that's about it from me. And can't wait until the 420.